Well, that's it then. I said they were going to add together two of the sections of pavé that were on my little notes here, and this is going to be really the shaker of the lot, and you want to shake your false teeth out of your head if you've got any. I just think the way they're going. But the three men who are in with the shout for a podium place, where this big crowd is waiting at the track at Roubaix. Well, the sun's out. It's been quite a bitterly cold day for many of the spectators, and they're just going to wait anxiously to see if this Belgian here who rides for the Mapei GB team, GB of course being a Belgian supermarket group, Mapei being the Italian company. They're very much involved in industrial chemicals and so on, and so there's been a lot of Italians come to watch this race. Many people make a pilgrimage each year to watch it. The Italians will have a vested interest then in the performance of Museo. He's the world champion, so a lot of people come over the border from Belgium to see how the world champion will actually perform against a man like Moncassin, who's on the front at the moment. And what a character he's been too. Great motocross rider, bicycle motocross rider, and a good all-round, a good sprinter too. And Chamil at the back, the man who won this race in 1994 with one of the longest lone breakaways we've ever had in the Paris Roubaix. Often the riders keep very close towards the back end, but Chamil went away. He did 62 kilometres on his own to win the race, and that was in 1994. But they poised themselves now to take off on the final hard sections of the race. It looks like these three might well have caused themselves some trouble, and as Moncassin is going like a man possessed, Museo is having trouble hanging onto his wheel, and Chamil, I think, is doing just the right thing, staying in behind Museo.
Yeah, he's shadowing Museo there. You know, they're arch rivals, they don't get on, so they're definitely, you know, neither want the other one to win, so they're just shadowing each other, and that could play into Moncassin's hand as well. Moncassin uses his bike handling skills here into good use. He's, like you say, he's a fantastic motocross rider, and bike handling is his forte, and in Paris Roubaix that really helps you.
So we've got a Frenchman, a Belgian, and a Russian, and still Moncassin is powering along here. Ah, yes, interesting. Sean's just pointing out the fact he's on rigid forks, whereas most of the team we saw this morning were on these new Ruby rock shocks as such. In fact, all the three front runners at the moment are on rigid forks, but look how the handlebars are absolutely shaking. See Museo's hands just vibrating away. In fact, I was talking to Phil Liggett. He's been out riding these cobbles with a group of Americans, and he's rubbed his thumbs absolutely raw just holding on the handlebars. So you imagine the pounding these riders are going through with 15 kilometres to go.
Yeah, Phil, he was, like I said, I think that the secret to riding the pavé is not to hold the handlebars too hard, and maybe he was, you know, he wasn't so experienced, and he was grabbing them too toughly. But it's interesting to know that all three of them are not, you know, none of them are using the rock shocks, and looks like Moncassin is going to have another dig. Yeah, Moncassin definitely on form of his life.
Isn't he? Well, I mean, he's a sprinter. All right, well, those who watched the Tour of Flanders last week, he's gone down the road again. He must have been very upset then, because in fact he said he chose the winner when he went on Ballerini's wheel, but he let Sorensen went away. He thought Ballerini was the man to go. He was very upset. I nearly said something else, that he lost it, but he took second place, Moncassin. He's got something to prove today, and he's proving it. He's making the legs hurt of Museo and Chamil, but really Moncassin, well, of course Museo's quite a useful sprinter, but I thought perhaps Moncassin had that slight edge.
Yeah, maybe he's just feeling that good that he fancies his chances on a breakaway, or he's just trying to blunt their speed a bit more. You know, Chamil's not slow either. He came second in Great Welcome in the week, and at the end of a long race like this, it's just the strongest man that can win. It's not often just the fastest. So, you know, I think it's going to be an interesting sprint if these three come together into the track, especially as track is, you know, it's not like a road sprint, and you have to use your head quite a lot. But they're definitely on for the win here. What's it like though, Sean, when you're riding like Moncassin's doing now? What's it feel like? I mean, it's fantastic when you're flying over the pavé, and at this stage of the race, you're just concentrating on giving everything to the end of that section. It looks like Museo's punctured. I saw him jump out onto the curb there. That's it.
That's happened last year, but he had two men with him from his team. Mazeo having his second puncture now. The world champion, winner last year of the Paris Roubaix. The man who went on to win not only the world champion, but the World Cup as well. Last year, at the back end of the year, he said he's going to retire from racing. He wasn't going to ride the world champion. He did that. He went on to ride the final World Cup race in Japan. That got him the World Cup jersey as well last year. And now the number one in the world, the number one in this race too, really. Mazeo has had the misfortune to puncture, and that's let Moncassin and Chamil go down, and he's got to chase now. Chamil right now on the front. He's determined to stay away. What a strong man he is too. And Moncassin too, showing enormous form just at the right. They're just hanging out there at the moment. But is that because the group behind wants to let them work too hard, or do you think they're just leaving them out to fry, or just they can't catch them?
I think it's just the fact they can't catch them. These two guys, you know, they're on form, they're at the front, and they're definitely riding for the win. So, you know, the guys behind, they're not giving them any leeway, and if they could catch them, they would. And I think that they are pulling away. Yes, 14 seconds. 14 seconds, and they just got one little drag. Then it's downhill towards the finish here. So I think it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Well, I've got Sean Yates with me, my co-commentator, who's ridden this race about a dozen or more times in the past and knows it like the back of his hands. Sean, you're getting towards the back end of this race, and we'll be interested to see if they finally stay away. What's it like when you finally... Obviously, Chamil starts to go, Moncassin goes after him, but I don't think that... can he stay away? He's been certainly lying a bit duggo of Moncassin, but he's maybe the stronger for the long ride of these two. Moncassin has to power now to stay on his wheel. Can he get up to Chamil, who's out the saddle? Chamil lived in Roubaix for many years. He knows also every inch of this ride in towards the finish, and he's burying himself on the front. Well, I know back in Morven, if my friend Chris Surf is watching this one, she'll be cheering him on. My old friend Mike, who died just over 12 months ago, was the one who got me in cycling. He was a Chamil fan, so I'm sure in Morven they're going to be really saying, go on, go on, go on. But all the French here will be supporting Moncassin, saying, close the gap, close the gap, close the gap. We're watching a marvellous race between two men here. It's nowhere near the actual finish line, but it's coming closer all the time, and the gap is opening up between Chamil and Moncassin. Moncassin is desperately trying to find a bit more effort to close that gap down. They're having their own private race, because just 14-15 seconds down the road is the pack containing Mazeo and Sorensen, who now these two have buried the hatchet in each other's heads. It's stopped them working together. They're going flat out here. That may take them away from the net, and Moncassin's closed the gap. And in Roubaix here, the whole of the French crowd have started to cheer, and relief has just gone round this concrete donut, and they said, woo, what a moment, Sean, eh?
That was the last little rise I was talking about, and you know, Chamil knows that Moncassin's a very fast sprinter, and he doesn't want to risk it, and he tried there, he tried to get away, and it was desperate for Moncassin. But he saw the summit of that little rise, and he knew that he just had to make it to the top of there, and you know, he had to use every bit of determination he had there to close that gap. It was agonising to watch.
It's back at home. Under the La Route sign, 1 kilometre to go. La Route, the big mail order company, major sponsor in the Paris Roubaix over many years, and also in the Tour de France, and they're going to come into the track now. It's an enormous roar, because Moncassin is in here with a shout for a victory for France. Chamil could also get another victory to go with his first and second he's had in the past. 750 metres to go then. Can Moncassin get this one? The first Frenchman to win the Paris Roubaix since Gilbert Duc of La Salle, but now they're coming back up.
It's all together.
Oh, they caught him.
They're on the track, and it's all together. Moncassin leads.
So Moncassin, who should be the best sprinter out of this one, has done so much work, and Mazeo was to close it down. And Mazeo did the work to close it down. Sorensen's in there too. Watch out for the orange jersey of Casarato, lying back about 5th in the front. Moncassin's in a very difficult position here. He's done so much work. He's the best sprinter, really. He threw down the gauntlet by going away with Chamil, together with Mazeo. Mazeo punched, they pressed on with this one. But right now, this sprint is going to be an absolute humdinger. 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 riders in with the shout to win the Paris Roubaix. This, the 95th edition, is going to be down to a sprint finish between these men. On the top, then Chamil starts to go through on the front of Mazeo. Mazeo still there, and suddenly outside over the top comes Guisdon up the La Française des Jeux. The La Française des Jeux rider Guisdon coming up over the top then, and down that finishing straight. It's Guisdon out of the saddle, trying to come down, and Guisdon is powering away here for La Française des Jeux, and he's going to take the victory. And just behind him, I think it was was 1:56 ahead of one, so just check that one. We stood up for here, and Beeston, who'd been doing nothing, sitting in there, timed that absolutely to a nicety to take the victory. And I know one man who's going to be so elated, his team manager, who's won this race twice in the past, none other than Marc Madio, will be absolutely delighted with this one. The French have gone mad too, because they've got a victory then after Duke Lasalle won in 1992 and 93, and now they